Razer's newly released Viper V3 Pro brings so many improvements over the V2 version, so I knew I had to get my hands on it. Hi guys, it's jerrorr here, and today we're talking about Razer's new flagship mouse, the Viper V3 Pro. In my mind, there are three main improvements on the V3 Pro: the coating, the shape, and the sensor. The coating on my white model is honestly one, if not the best coating I've used. It almost reminds me of endgame gear's coatings. It's slightly rubberized feeling matte coating that offers such a great grip on it. It's million times better than the coating on the V2 Pro, which was this chalky bare plastic that was really slippery in every scenario for me. I always had to use some grip tape with the V2 Pro, but on the V3 it's not needed at all. The shape improvements are also very nice. For those who are familiar with the hyperspeed version that released months ago, these are not new improvements, but for me they were. Starting from the main buttons, they added some really nice comfort grooves on them and added these side ledges to alleviate the problem where your finger could get pinched between the main button and the shell. The V2 Pro was known for its rather flat profile that I was not the biggest fan of. The V3, however, has a really nice rear hump that hugs my lower palm area just the right way. It's not too aggressive of a hump, so it doesn't lock you out of using a palm grip if you prefer that. They also made the sidewalls flatter to be more similar than on the G Pro shape to suit the needs of a larger audience. Then they also made the skates a lot bigger, which I don't have installed anymore since I needed to open this mouse up to measure the click latency. It's pretty clear that they made these adjustments to more directly compete with the GPX2 from Logitech, so let's do some slight shape comparison between these two. In hand, the main difference for me comes from the fact that the GPX has a hump that's very centralized. There is no apparent rear hump or anything, and the mouse is just designed to suit pretty much every grip style equally. It's not the best feeling shape for anything, but it gets the job done. The Viper V3 Pro, however, has this slightly rear-sided hump that is more flat on the area that meets your palm. It almost has those same shape elements on the palm area that the Vaxi XE has, so it forms like a triangle with the support points. From the bottom view, we can also see that the GPX is overall a more potato-like, and the Viper V3 Pro tapers in more on the center. The V3 Pro still retains some of that Viperish front flare, but this time it's not as aggressive feeling as before. There are really no comfort issues with the shape of the V3 Pro, and I really like it, even though it's bigger than what I usually prefer to use. I can relax claw and claw grip this shape so well with my 17.5 times 10.5 centimeter hand that I don't really miss a smaller mouse. Of course, with the mouse size like this, I lose some of that ability to do those inner hand micro corrections, but on the flip side I achieve so much additional stability and dexterity, and I can game for hours straight without any straining. It's a really nice shape overall. The build quality is also very good out of the box, which I'm pretty surprised about after my Viper Mini Signature Edition fiasco. The main buttons are really sturdy without any apparent side wobble. Even after opening this mouse and 2 weeks of constant usage, this mouse feels like brand new. No creaking or flexing anywhere. They also have reduced the weight, and now this mouse weighs like 52 grams with dot skates, and I believe it was something like 54 grams with the full size stock skates. Together with the really good weight balancing and the insane coating, the mouse feels very lightweight and pleasant to use for longer periods of time. The main buttons are also tensioned really nicely. The Gen 3 opticals are yet again really nice opticals that are fairly light to press. They are a bit more hollow feeling than mechanical switches, but in use I don't honestly have a preference. These feel fine. The pre and post travel is spot on, and especially the post travel is very minimal. I can't recall how the side buttons were on the V2 Pro, but they claim that they made some adjustments. What I can tell you, however, is that these are really nice side buttons. They are really tactile and they don't go in the shell too much. The scroll wheel is also very nice and silent. The notches feel smooth, and the rubbering gives just the right amount of grippiness. So, I mentioned the sensor in the beginning of my video. Razer now moved on to their newest generation of the Focus Pro sensor, and they are now using the Focus Pro 35K Gen 2 sensor on this. With the upgrade, they introduced some additional features like the single number DPI adjustment and a feature that changes the polling rate automatically when you start a game. But I'm not that interested in those features. I always use 1600 dpi and keep the Razer software closed. But what I'm interested in is the raw latency numbers. So motion latency wise, the numbers are the same as with the previous models. So at 8K polling, minus 0.8 milliseconds compared to my control unit, and minus 0.6 milliseconds at 4K polling, and so on. So yeah, top tier performance as expected. I also measured the click latency with my XLAT, and these results are on the newest firmware. Compared to the previous click latency results that I had measured with the Viper Mini Signature Edition, they have made some nice improvements. With 8K polling, the mouse is capable of results under 0.4 milliseconds, and the deviation was also very low. With all the other polling rates, the results are also very competitive with the other top tier mice. Razer knows that the battery life is up to 95 hours at 1K, 62 hours at 2K, 40 hours at 4K polling, and then lastly 17 hours at 8K polling. The 8K polling battery life is of course rather low, but that is to be expected. I mostly play at 4K polling myself, so I haven't had issues with the battery dying mid-game on me. My experiences with the new iteration of Viper has been surprisingly positive, and I really like using this mouse, even though it's a rather big shape. I didn't honestly expect this at all, and I almost left this out of my review calendar, but I'm really happy I didn't, however, and this mouse goes straight up to my top 3 very easily. But I think that is it for this video. Thanks for watching and see you next week. Goodbye.